imagine waking up from a nap and losing the memories of your closest loved ones for the last 20 years? That's what happened to our next guest. Take a look.
I wonder if she ever remembered JJ, or if it was just their relationship started again from that point. It's very possible that they're missing that year and a half together.
That's your boyfriend, then?
Mom, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. You're getting married soon.
You build a life together, you go through things together, you have memories, happy memories that you look back at, and that's kind of like the essence of love, right?
Nesh Pillay went viral for documenting her journey of memory loss, inspiring a new two-part series called 50,000 First Dates. Welcome to the show, Nesh. We're really happy to have you.
Nesh, this is a wild story, right? This is wild. How is your memory lost now, first of all?
So what you see in the movie, those were the acute stages. So if you've watched 50 First Dates, it was 10-second Tom, very quick resets. Now I don't have those quick resets. I maybe remember at about 20% of the rate as what I did before, and that might be generous. And it takes about a day or two for things to start to leave my brain.
Okay.
Wow. So, I couldn't really tell you in detail much of what I did this week.
Okay.
And you will remember this in a few days?
I'll remember I was here. I might not remember specifics of, if I saw you on the street, I might forget you. I'm so sorry.
No,
in advance. Yeah. You're like, me too. Yeah. So, yeah.
Can you take us back to the start, though? So what do you remember triggered this memory loss in the first place?
So I don't remember what triggered it exactly. Now it's we have this theory that I hit my head the night before. But what really triggered it started long before I even knew there was an issue. I was in a car accident when I was 10 years old, had a pretty major head trauma. Mm-hmm. And then throughout my life, I've had head bumps here and there. I'm not an athlete or anything like that. But what it is when it comes to concussion, the effects are compounding, especially when your brain's not healed yet. And that has resulted in memory loss for me.
Wow. So Nesh, okay, so you take a nap, you wake up, and you don't remember your loved ones. You don't even remember your own child. You have a daughter.
Yeah.
What's it like losing memory of your significant others and your people in your life?
Horrifying. So with my daughter specifically, what's interesting is the emotional part of things remained. So with my daughter, you'll see in the show, I consistently would say, where's the child? Yeah. There's a child. I'm worried about a child. So whatever that feeling, that emotion is to protect a child, I didn't know who the child was. I didn't know she was mine, but I knew I needed to protect a child. That was my first priority. With JJ, I was very confused as to why he was there all the time.
Yeah.
But
you felt safe with him.
I felt safe with him. So whenever it was, who do you want to go into this doctor's visit with you? Or who do you want, I needed people with me all the time. Yeah. Who do you want to come into the shower with you? I always chose JJ. So that feeling of safety and comfort remained. Mm-hmm. Overall, though, I was constantly in a panic. I knew something was happening. I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you already made a reference to 50 First Dates starring Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler, and the internet certainly picked up on the similarities between the movie and your story with JJ. But so they describe your relationship like that. But is it a safe analogy? A fair analogy?
I mean, it's an obvious analogy, so I understand why everyone made that connection. I'm hesitant to compare real life to a rom-com, because I just think that's an unrealistic expectation to put on people. Just even, having followers, I have a sense of responsibility, and if I'm putting out this image that life is perfect, relationships are perfect, people are gonna hold their lives to that same standard. So in that way, no, it's not, but there are definite similarities.
Nesh, I had a concussion early last year, and I lost my memory for a while as well. And the one thing was, I couldn't have screens anywhere near me. I was allergic to them. But somehow your story, you were able to kind of record it. So how did that come about? Whose idea was it?
Yeah.
How did that feel when people were recording you?
So you'll see in some of the videos, at the worst moments, I couldn't have any sort of stimulation, sound or light. It was such a weird thing that was happening. We live in this world where people take out their phones for anything. The other thing is, is my family, JJ, became my advocates to medical professionals, and my memory loss wasn't consistent. It wasn't, now I think I'm 17, and so I think I'm 17 always. So they needed that proof to take to doctors. So that's why they started recording. My biggest trigger was sound, and it still kind of remains to be sound. Everyone's brain is different. I couldn't tell you why, but for me, it's sound more than light.
I mean, even you acknowledge that this does sound like an unbelievable story. So I'm sure you've had your share of people not believing the experience. So what do you say to that?
Surprisingly, I'm not as upset by it as you would expect, because we should question what we see online. You know, this is a time of AI, and the smart consumer does question things. So I don't take it personally. Where being questioned causes a problem in my day-to-day life is as it pertains to caregivers believing me and doctors, medical professionals. That is the difference between life and death for me. So that's where I care about being believed. In terms of someone who, you know, lives across the world, it doesn't really bother me that much.
Okay. All right, so this is our last question, a very important question, because this series kind of poses this very interesting question, which is, can love exist without memories? And I want to get your take on that.
Well, I think it depends on your definition of love. However, I think the stuff I just explained, the concern for my daughter, the comfort with JJ, proves that love, in fact, can exist. But something like my story doesn't necessarily make love easy either. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind when watching the story.
Well, Nesh, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Fascinating.
Come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.